then we're seeking divine answers. So how do we know when we receive a divine answer? Does God part the sky and we see a bolt of lightning and a cue card appears in the clouds and it's that simple? Well, I wish I could say it was. But there are feelings and senses that we receive from the divine. There are messages that are spoken to us. The universe is always talking. You know, it's interesting how sometimes someone will hand you something and there's something printed on it. And they're just giving it to you because they want to draw your attention to what they want you to see. But you notice something else on the paper. And it is pertinent to what you're experiencing. These are the things that make us wake up and say, I think the universe talks to me in different ways. And I don't always have to get the answer in the way I expect. The universe is always listening. We're always manifesting and creating and thinking the thoughts of what we'd like life to be. Sometimes we feel like it falls on deaf ears. We think the universe has not heard us. The divine God is not paying attention. And we're just going in with the flow. But the divine sense, the divine feeling comes from a place in the soul that's called the knowing. The knowing feels the completeness, the wholeness, the fulfillment, the joy, the harmony. It's a sense that you know, even though analytically, mentally, emotionally, you may not know just yet, but you just have a know that this is the right choice for you or the right answer for you. It's a feeling. I notice that most of what Spirit has been drawing our attention to lately is paying attention to how we feel. How you feel creates a frequency. The frequency is emulated out into the universe and becomes the magnet that brings back to you what you desire. So the feelings that you're putting out become a cumulative force of energy and frequency that creates an outcome. So how have you been feeling lately? There's a question. And what's feeling out of sorts? And when have you felt this way before? And what was the outcome then? And how do you break a pattern? How do you shift out of a circumstance that maybe is dissatisfactory to you? And how do you know what the feeling is inside? Well, you just know. You just know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's a peace within. Divine answers come in so many forms. Through the mouths of others, through some printed material. It comes in the form of music that you hear on the radio. That's an answer. It comes when you have a flash of a memory of something that was when you were happy and it had a great feeling to it, and suddenly you realize you're on the path of that. It comes by the answer presenting itself exactly as you wanted it to. But there are other times that it's not so black and white, so clear-cut, so straightforward. So, God, give me more clues. And suddenly we feel like we're on a treasure hunt, picking up clues along the way just to get to the end of the treasure map. That, my friends, is the journey of life. Picking up pieces along the journey. Asking for assistance on the way. Sometimes working with a team to get it done. We are meant to work along with others. We are a collective conscious being. We are part of the great collective, shifting and sending out our frequency and our thoughts and our words, and we are part of the power. We have been given a task. The divine answers, however profound they may come to you, they have a sense of completion. They have a sense of it's okay. They give you a push in the right direction. And you get to figure out the journey from where you are to the outcome. But they let you know it's okay to pass. You have permission to go to the next step. I remember years ago, I was just talking to someone about this recently. I was wanting to go back to Hawaii, and I had been in Hawaii in 2015. And there was a trip with some of my spiritual friends. They were going to Maui, And I love Maui. And I was so excited. I was like, I want to go. And I sat and I meditated. And instead of getting this, yes, you can go feeling, I got this feeling that said, you're not going anywhere, SarahSpiritual. And I was asking Spirit and meditating and praying on this in January. I was like, okay, Spirit, you didn't give me the answer I want. I didn't get the good feeling. I'm going to wait till next month. I'm sure you'll change your mind. So being the diligent human being I was at the time, I sat there and I was like, okay, Spirit, what do you think? I want to go to Maui. I want to be with these people and participate in this wonderful retreat. I got to know. I went, man, they're playing hardball, but that's okay. I'll be persistent. And I asked another time, and I have a kind of a thought process of once I've asked a few times, if I still get a no, then it's no, and I have to let it go. So then the call came, and the call was in July. And it was my friends who were running the retreat. And they're like, come on, Sarah, we have a spot for you. There's one spot left. And we know you really want to come. And I was like, oh, maybe this is a sign. You know how we like to take those signs and make them fit into what we want them to be, that divine answer? So I look at that sign and I say, oh, let me get back to you. So I run into my quiet space and I'm really excited. I'm like, this is a sign. And Spirit said, no, you're not going anywhere. And I'm like, but why? I can do it. I can make it happen. Spirit said, no. And it was just this thud of a feeling like it's not a good choice for you. Just don't go. So I call my friends back and I'm like, hey, I'm not coming. I need to stay here. That's the guidance, the divine answer that I received. So they get it. They're aligned with the divine. So they respected my choice. And a few days before the trip, we start to hear this story, and they went in September, this story of a hurricane coming. I believe it was 2017. And there was a hurricane coming. And it was one of the times it was directly headed straight for center of storm, West Palm Beach. Right basically above my center. And I went, oh, maybe that's why I shouldn't go. And sure enough, it ended up being a rough storm, but it wasn't as bad as they had said it could be, and thankfully so. But then I thought, wow, this is why I needed to be. I needed to be here because I needed to be a part of making sure the center was secure, boarding up all the windows, doing what I needed to do, and respecting the guidance, the divine answer I received. You see, sometimes the divine answer is not what we want it to be. And that's a real bummer. Like, I was like so bummed. And sure enough, my friends are in Maui and they're calling and they're like, oh my God, are you all right? The storm's headed right for West Palm Beach. I said, yeah, we're good. We're hunkered down. We've got the boarding up on all the windows. Everything's secure. I'm in the process of securing my house and we'll be okay. We'll ride it out. And of course we were. So many times we want the answer that we want because we're human and we desire something. And do I believe that had I gone to Maui that something horrible would have happened? No, I don't. But I also know that that would have been a really far place to be and to have things going on that I really couldn't be a part of to make sure they were okay. So I realized that it was the better, higher vibrational choice for me to stay behind. And think about when I said I started asking the question. I asked the question of the divine in January of that year. And there was no thought in my mind that that would have been the reason. I couldn't understand why I couldn't go. And so I honored the sense that I got. Just like I honor, and I encourage you to honor the feeling and the sense that makes you feel like it's okay to do something. And there's a comfort, there's a sense of peace. There's a feeling of you're not pushing to make it happen. It's just happening. I've learned you don't push. When you want divine answers, you don't push. You allow things to line up to match the outcome you desire, and they fall systematically in place before you. That doesn't mean there might not be a little bump, but it just seems to flow. The universe is flowing. It's making movement. And everything in the universe is programmed to sustain itself and survive and endure the difficult times and pass through them to the easier moments. Even wildlife, even plants. I marvel over their ability to be tolerant of certain heat. I think I would wither in a minute. There are some plants that are very tolerant of the heat here in Florida. And even the insect's ability to kind of survive and find its food. It's always fascinating how everything is very resourceful. And I don't think you see that energy of concern and questioning and wondering how around some of these very simplistic beings on the earth. The plant life, the insect life, the animal kingdom. They don't seem as complicated as us humans. I know we were blessed with that great thing called intelligence. This magnificent wired computer that thinks and categorically stores information and allows us to pull up things that we remember so we can figure things out and have knowledge and wisdom. Then there's our emotional self, those feelings that we have, and that includes our wounds and our pain from the past that we carry forth with us. And it's the divine self that is the nurturing energy that comforts us and lets us know that it's okay and that we don't have to repeat patterns and we don't have to be wounded, that we can be loved and be enough. And we are deserving of that. And that we're not a victim. And we can choose the path in our life and how that's going to go. And in the energy of all that, the divine guides us to feel grateful, peaceful, harmonious. Even when we don't see the answer yet, the divine prompts you to feel at peace and trust. Oh, there's the big one. Trust. But remember how my relationship with Spirit, when I asked the question, I trusted? I knew their no was a no, but I just thought I'd try again. And then I'd try again. But I've learned that when I have that feeling, that prompting to do something or not do something, that I can trust it. And does that mean I don't think for myself? Does that mean I don't want you to think for yourself? I want you to wait for the seas to part and for you to have this divine revelation all the time for every decision? No. But there are moments that are important. And we need to sit. We need to be. We need to allow the universe to show us the bigger picture, the whole story. Because the divine looks far beyond what we can see and think and feel. Includes all the cast of characters that will enter in the stage of your life that will be a part of this story of what you say you want. And they know where the bumps in the road may be, the challenges, the opportunities for you to grow, and then the things that may be detrimental or more uncomfortable, and the divine would rather see you have a better journey. But we have free will. Oh, there's the other big phrase, free will. Good Lord. We find ourselves just picking a path. This is what I want to do. I choose this. And we don't always see beyond the moment of what we choose. And then we find ourselves caught in a trap. That trap of not feeling like it was the best choice. And oops, how am I going to get myself out of this? And being caught in that instability, uncertainty, maybe the fear. Or not knowing the next step because Now we don't trust our own judgment, and so we seek guidance from another, but that's based on their experiences and their intellect and emotional upbringing and wounds. That we might not want to go that way. So then we have to retreat and go within and seek the guidance. And ultimately, the choice is always yours. The choice is mine. The choice is yours. But interestingly enough, from January, the universe knew that something in September would have made it a less than favorable, enjoyable trip. I don't know, but the universe did. And so I chose to honor that evidence that they gave me within. I didn't have physical evidence. It's trusting. It's allowing. It's learning that things have a time. Perhaps it's not the right time for you to do something. Not the right time to make a move or make a change, even though you want to. Because there's an easier way out of what you want to change. Or it's not the time to keep doing what you're doing because it's not working for you. So it's time to change. Or it's the perfect time for you to sit and be still and really focus on what you want and what makes you happy and be in gratitude. Gratitude is always the key to a favorable outcome. Being grateful for what you have, how far you've come, how simple your life may have become in some ways, even if there's still some mountains to climb. We need to be grateful. We need to trust that divine guidance and answers are all around us. The key is asking the right question. If you ask a question, the divine will give you the answer to your question. But often, as humans, we ask the question on a superficial level. Because honestly, we don't really want to know the answer. We don't want to be told what to do. We have free will. So if it looks good and feels good, then we want to be able to do it. But many of us don't have that foresight to look beyond a certain period of time. Because we haven't been taught to attune ourselves to the divine eye, the divine wisdom, the divine intellect, the all-seeing eye of God, to be one with that alignment. We haven't been taught that. And now enter this time of much confusion and uncertainty. How do you know what to trust? How do you get your divine answer? You have to go within. But I promise you, when you go within and you ask the question, and then you ask the question not superficially, but we go down deep within and we ask the question on a level of, is this the right choice for me? And if I do this, will it be what I would like it to be? And we really examine our motive for wanting what we want. Sometimes our motives for wanting something, making a change, making a difference in our life, shifting, being with a particular person, obtaining a particular job, there's a hidden motive that is from our wounded self, our personality, that needs to make up for something that we feel we're lacking. So our outward persona has to present us as a certain way. Each one of us has gifts. Each one of us has a power within that can create. Ask yourself, what is the answer? And ask yourself, why is it I seek the answer? And ask yourself, when you make your choice, am I at peace with this choice? Do I feel I'm aligned? And then you'll feel the light, because everywhere around you, there's light.